Our today's topic is GSM. GSM is your global system for mobile communication. In the previous lecture, we have studied about IS 136, IS 136, and that is a second generation standard. And in the similar fashion, GSM is another second generation standard. The GSM was basically developed to solve the fragmentation problem of first generation. So it was developed to solve fragmentation problem. Now, what is this fragmentation problem? Basically, in European countries, in different regions, different cellular standards were being followed, and the subscribers of one particular standard they were not able to communicate if they travel to some region of other standard. So that is the main problem. That is the fragmentation problem, and then this GSM was developed, and GSM was accepted globally throughout the continent, and then this fragmentation problem was solved because this GSM was adopted globally. And during that time, this GSM was the most popular second generation technology. So this was the most popular second generation technology because it was adopted globally, and most of the population that time, most of the subscribers, they adopted the this second generation standard, that is GSM. And this was the only GSM standard that time which specified digital modulation and network level architecture and services. So this specifies digital modulation, and it had a network level architecture and services, and had network level architecture and services. Okay. And because it was adopted globally, and according to 2001 report, there were around 350 million users who adopted this standard. So 350 million users adopted GSM, and this report came in the year 2001. Okay. GSM was introduced in mid 1980s. It was introduced in mid 1980s, and it was introduced by a group special mobile committee, introduced by a group special mobile committee, and initially it was named by this GSM committee, that is group special mobile committee. And later in 1992, it was renamed, as global system for mobile communication. Okay. Initially it was developed by this group, that is called as group special mobile committee in mid 1980s. And after that, it was later on in the year 1992, it was renamed as global system for mobile communication. And although it was introduced in the mid 1990s, but it was not adopted globally that time. And GSM was first introduced in the European countries in the year 1991. So I can say that in European countries, in European countries, it was adopted in 1991. Adopted in 1991, and but by the end of 1993, several non-European countries also adopted it. So 1993, other non-European countries also adopted it. Non-European countries also adopted GSM, and these non-European countries, they include South America, Asia, Australia, and there are some other countries which adopted this by the end of 1993. The most important, or you can say the remarkable feature of this GSM technology, SIM module. SIM module. This stands for Subscriber Identity Module. Subscriber Identity Module, and this was the most remarkable feature of this technology. Now, what is this SIM module? This was basically a memory element, or you can say a memory device that stores information such as subscribers identification, number of networks and countries which the subscriber is entitled to serve, and privacy keys are also stored in this module, and other user specific information is stored. So this memory device, it can store information such as your subscribers identification, subscribers identification, number of networks and countries which the subscriber is entitled to serve. Then it also stores privacy keys and other user specific information. Other user specific information. So SIM module is the most remarkable feature of this GSM technology. And what is this SIM module? This is basically a memory device that stores information such as subscribers identification, number of countries and networks that a particular user will serve, and also it contains the privacy keys and other user specific information. So this was the most remarkable feature in GSM. And another remarkable feature in GSM is on the air privacy. On the air privacy, in this technology, we were able to encrypt the digital bit stream that is sent by the transmitter. So, on the air privacy is provided, and our communication was secured in this standard. So, by using some specific secret cryptographic key that is known only to the cellular carrier. Cellular carrier means the cellular provider, and these keys are shared, or you can say the cryptographic algorithms they are shared between the cellular carrier and every GSM equipment manufacturer. Okay, the every carrier and GSM equipment manufacturer signs an MOU to share the cryptographic algorithm. So I would write here, every carrier and GSM equipment manufacturer share the cryptographic algorithms by signing an MOU. Signing an MOU, that is Memorandum of Understanding. So every carrier, every service provider, and the GSM equipment manufacturer, they sign an MOU to share the cryptographic algorithms, and because of that, our communication on the air have privacy. So this is a brief introduction about GSM technology, and now we will see the GSM network architecture. The GSM architecture consists of three major interconnected subsystems. There are three major interconnected subsystems. Number one is your base station subsystem. Base station subsystem. This is denoted by BSS. Number two, we have networking and switching subsystem. Networking and switching subsystem. This is denoted by NSS. And number three is operation support subsystem. Operation support subsystem. And this is denoted by OSS. Okay. And there is one more subsystem that is also a part of this architecture, and that is called as public network. So another support subsystem is called as public network. This public network is can also be a part of your GSM architecture, and one more subsystem that is called as mobile station subsystem, MSS, that is included in your base station subsystem. Okay, your mobile station subsystem, but this system can also be a part of your base station subsystem. Okay, now let me draw the network architecture of this GSM technology. So I will draw the first, and then I will explain the components of this architecture. Okay, this is the complete architecture of GSM technology, that is our 2G standard. And in GSM technology, first we will start from this portion, that is your base station subsystem. We will start from the base station subsystem. In base station subsystem, on the left side, you can see there is a single mobile station, and this single mobile station is also termed as mobile station subsystem. But here in this diagram, I'm showing it as the integral part of the base station subsystem. In this base station subsystem, you see there are different BTS, that is base station base transceivers are there, different number of, and I have shown here six base stations, base station transceivers. But there you may have a large number of base transceivers in this base station subsystem. And this base station subsystem is also known as radio subsystem, as it provides radio transmission paths between mobile station and these base stations. So these are the radio transmission paths which are provided by this base station between the mobile station and the base station. And then mobile station and MSC, the radio paths are also provided by this base station subsystem. And base station subsystem also manages radio interface between the mobile station and all other subsystems of the GSM. All other subsystems means the other subsystem like network switching subsystem and public networks, and also the operation support subsystem. And between all these systems and mobile station subsystem, the radio paths are provided by the base station subsystem. And many base switching centers, here you can see I have shown two base switching centers, BSC1 and BSC2. And many base station switching centers can be there in the one base station subsystem, and which connect the mobile station to the network switching center or network switching and support center, that is denoted by NSS via MSC. So here you have MSC, and these base switching centers, they are connected to the network switching support subsystem by the use of this MSC. And the many base station switching centers, they connect to a single MSC, and each base switching center typically controls up several BTSs. Okay, this single base station switching center, it can control number of base transceivers. And similarly this base switching center, this can control another large number of base station transmitters. Okay, and BTSs, they may be co-located at the base station switching center, or they are remotely distributed or physically connected by microlink or dedicated leased line. These base transceivers, they may be located here at the BSCs, or they may be located remotely like I have shown in this diagram. When they are located remotely at some location, then they will be connected to the BSCs by the use of some leased line or the microwave link. Okay, and mobile station handoff is exclusively handled by the same BSCs. Like if the mobile station, this one is moving towards this direction, and it is moving from the domain of this BTS to the domain of this BTS, and then to the domain of this BTS, and it is all handled by this single BSC, and it is not handled by the MSC. So all the handover burden is taken by this BSC. So it reduces the signaling cost or signaling overhead on the MSC, ultimately, which reduces the switching burden of the MSC. And BTS to BSC interface is called as AB's interface. This interface is called as the AB's interface, and it is controlled by SS7 protocol. And the interface, or the carrier traffic and maintenance data between BSCs and MSCs, this interface is called as the A interface, and it is again controlled by the SS7 protocol. Okay, and this is all about your base station subsystem. And now we shall see the network switching subsystem. This network switching subsystem, it handles the switching of GSM calls. Like when the GSM calls are made, like when we make the voice calls, when we call a particular contact, then this MSC will decide to which particular path this traffic should go, and which particular BSC will be directed as per the location of your mobile station. So this switching is done by the MSC itself. And further, this system provides and manages access to several customers database. As we see that the access to customers database is done by the MSC itself. We have here HLR, that is home location register. We have VLR, that is visitor location register, and we have another register which is called as authentication register. This home location register, this contains the subscribers information and location information, and also each user is assigned with a unique number that is called as international mobile subscriber identity, that is IMSI, and which is contained in the HLR. And this is your international mobile subscriber identity, and it is contained in the HLR. And there is some other user specific information is contained in the HLR register. And this is accessed by the MSC only. And similarly, we have another register which is called as visitor location register, and it is denoted by VLR. And visitor location register is a temporary register, and it stores the IMSI number and customers information for each roaming customer. This is not for the static customer. This contains the information like IMSI number or some other user specific information, but for a roaming customer. So it provides the mobility support as well. And all these details, they are copied from the this HLR to VLR. And this is a temporary register. When the mobile station moves from that particular base station to another base station, then the previous entry is omitted and new record is copied from the HLR, which is there in the MSC. And then we have this authentication register, and it is a protected database which handles the authentication and encryption keys. All the authentication schemes and the encryption keys, they are contained in the authentication register. And this authentication register also contains a component that is called as EIR, that is equipment identity register, which identifies the stolen or fraudulently altered phones. So the fraudulent altered phones, which means the devices which have fraud IMSI numbers, or which are the stolen devices, they are identified with the help of this equipment identity register. Basically, it maintains a log of all the authentic devices in that particular network. Okay, so this is the job of this authentication register and EIR, that is equipment identity register. And after that, we have a third support subsystem of GSM technology, that is your OMC, or you can say operational support subsystem, and which contains an operational maintenance center. In this operational support subsystem, there is one component which is called as operational maintenance center, and it supports one or more OMCs. So there can be single OMC, or it can have multiple OMCs in one operational support system. OMC uses used to monitor and maintain the performance of each mobile station, each base station, and base stations switching centers, and also the MSCs. So overall, I would say that OMC maintains all the major components of GSM. And also further, there are three main functions of OMC. It maintains all telecommunication hardware and network operations. So all the hardware components, they are maintained by the OMC, and also all the network operations, they are also monitored by the OMC. And basically, OMC is given to the staff members, and particularly to the network engineers who are sitting in this particular part, and they are maintaining and managing every component of the system. And also they manage all the charging and billing procedures, all are maintained by this OMC. And further, it manages all the mobile equipments in the GSM system, like your mobile station or any other mobile equipment. It is maintained by the OMC. So OSS, that is your operation support subsystem, it is solely provided to the staff of the GSM, that is operating GSM operating company, and the system engineers, they monitor, they diagnose, and they troubleshoot all the aspects of the GSM. After that, you have fourth component, that is your public network, and it contains the component PSTN, that is your landline network, ISDN and data networks. And this GSM architecture may be connected to your public networks as well. So this is all about the GSM network architecture that contains three different components or subsystems. One is your base station subsystem, and the next one is network switching subsystem, and the third one is your operational support subsystem. So this is all about the GSM architecture, and in the next lecture we shall see the GSM frame structure.